Good evening. It's Saturday, September 12th, 2020, and you're listening to the Best Lamb Sports Show, coming to you live from the Lonely Tree Media Studios in Ellensburg, Washington. I'm your host, David Lamb. With me, as always, is my son, Parker. Say hello, Parker.
Hello, everybody.
So, lots of sports going on right now. Lots of fires in the Northwest. First of all, I want to make sure everybody's staying safe and paying attention and staying inside because
Yeah,
there's a crap ton of smoke out there.
a lot of it. It's like the parts per million is like 455 here right now. It's insane.
And and you're in Wilsonville?
Wilsonville,
Yeah,
yes,
see, so
smoky Wilsonville.
I don't know what our parts per million is here in Ellensburg. It's probably not that high, but it is definitely very smoky. So, I mean, there's quite a bit. Um, if you don't have to go outside, don't go outside. Stay inside. And, if you're going outside, now's an opportune time to wear that mask for two reasons. So, um,
Although they came on the thing and they said over the TV and they said that the masks that they have for like virus prevention
yeah,
will do very little for the particulates and smoke.
yeah. Well, it's
But
true.
it couldn't hurt. I mean, what's the worst? It only helps. It's only another barrier.
Right. It may not do a whole lot, but it'll do something more than
Do
nothing.
something.
Right. So, yeah. So lots of stuff going on. Lots of sports. We got college football. We've got NBA playoffs still going on. We had an NFL game on Thursday. NFL kicked off on Thursday. I know everyone's excited about that. The U.S. Open tennis, soccer restarted in the Premier League in England. Major League Baseball is still going on, although I'm not sure what's going to happen with that because they're still having postponed games. Lots of stuff to talk about. We'll get to it in just a second. As always, the first part of our show is brought to you by the Range in Yakima. The Range is Central Washington's premier indoor shooting facility. At 34,000 square feet, the Range is an all inclusive facility offering firearm training, retail firearm sales and supplies, full gunsmithing and repairs, custom builds, and Cerakote services, all under one roof. Open Tuesday through Sunday from 11 to 7. Go see our friends at the Range, 1701 Garrettson Lane in Yakima. The phone number is 509 571 1449. The Range, educate, equip, and empower. So, you know what? Let's start here. I was going to start with college football, but let's start with the NFL game that happened on Thursday.
Woo.
Okay? I'm switching it up already. We're already off script. Let's talk about the NFL game that happened on Thursday. The Houston Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City wins 34-20 in what looked like relatively easy fashion once they got it going. Am I wrong?
No, it seemed like they just handled it.
Yeah, it was. Patrick Mahomes was 24 of 32, 211 yards, three touchdowns. Deshaun Watson was 20 of 32 for 253 yards, one touchdown, one interception. I You saw right at the beginning, you saw Houston, I think, confusing Kansas City defensively.
Yeah.
They threw a little wrench at them, and it took Kansas City about what, a quarter, a little over a quarter, to figure out what was going on, and from then on it was game on. So, a seven nothing,
It was kind of a snoozer.
a 7-0 lead for Houston in the first quarter on a David Johnson 19-yard run, and David Johnson looked good.
Yeah, he did.
I
He's on my
thought.
fantasy team too.
Yeah, well, that can't hurt. And that was the only score in the first quarter, and Houston had a 7-0 lead, and then Kansas City scores 17 in the second quarter. Travis Kelsey with a 6-yard touchdown pass from Mahomes, Sammy Watkins with a 2-yard touchdown pass from Mahomes, and then Harrison Butker hits a 29-yard field goal as the time expired in the first half for a 17-7 lead. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire scores in the third on a 27-yard touchdown run. And at that point, you kind of felt it was over. It's
Yeah,
20.
it
Yeah,
just it sealed it away.
it was 24-7. They extended the lead to 31-7 at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Tyreek Hill with a 3-yard pass from Mahomes, and then Houston scores two touchdowns later, and they had a 2-point conversion fail. And anyway, the score ended up being closer than the game was. It was 31-7 Kansas City, but it ended up being 34-20, and you just felt like when I first watched the first quarter, I felt, oh, Kansas City, okay, they're looking kind of mediocre. They're having some issues, but that's part of not playing any preseason games. Am I wrong?
Right. There's no warm up time for some of the people that matter, like your offensive line, your tight ends.
Yeah, all that full contact stuff that you'd have with another team to get yourself ready and the feel the pace of the game and all that stuff. It wasn't there at the beginning for Kansas City, but Houston didn't exactly run away with the football game. So you knew right
Yeah.
away it was going to still be a good game, and then all of a sudden Kansas City made it not. Like,
You, it, it quickly became not a good
not a
game.
good game. Which leads us to the stat of the day, by the way. And it's going to lead us into two things: statistic of the day, followed by the trivia question. So,
Ooh.
I know this is a two-parter kind of thing. Well, not really. It's going to two birds, one stone kind of thing. So, here's your stat of the day. I was curious, since this was week one, how many teams have lost their week one game and gone on that year to win the Super Bowl?
Hmm.
So, 54 Super Bowl winners up to this point, right? If you had to guess, how many teams have lost their first game and gone on to win the Super Bowl out of those 54?
I had to guess right now.
Yeah, take a guess.
Uh, 5.
Well, it's higher than that. But the answer is actually 9. So
Ooh.
so teams that win the Super Bowl are 44, 9, and 1 in their first game, their opening week game. So if you didn't win your opening week game, you're hurting. I mean, I'm almost writing the Texans off at this point, right? Because
I wouldn't do that, but because of who they played. Like if they let's say they played, I don't know, the Jets this week, do we still think they would have lost? No, it's who.
I don't
They
know.
might not win a Super Bowl,
Well,
but they're still better than
and I also feel like opening week games this year, since you had no preseason, I don't know that everyone who's supposed to win is going to win.
Yeah, we're gonna find out.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out really quickly. That's going to lead us into our trivia question. So that brings the question. So we know that 9 teams have lost their first week game and gone on to win the Super Bowl. Hold on to that thought. Trivia question brought to you by Stave and Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. 2 tasting rooms to choose from: the Vineyard, 3827 Fletcher Drive, and then downtown is 210 Oak Street. Go to stavenstone.com and check out their gift baskets. Perfect for the wine lover in your family. For more information, call 541-946-3750. That's 541-WINE-750. Or you can email them info@stavenstone.com. Stavenstone Wines with Personality. So the question I have is, how many teams, how many franchises have lost the first week game and then gone on to win the Super Bowl more than once?
Ooh, so only 9 teams have done it.
There's only been 9 Super Bowl winners in the history of the Super Bowl in 54 years that have lost their first week game and gone on to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, hold on now. So that's not 9 teams. Only 9 times has it happened.
Only 9, right? Well, it's
So
okay. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an
Yeah.
example. Let's just say that the 2001 Dolphins won the Super Bowl after losing the first round, and the 2012 Dolphins won the Super Bowl after losing. That's 2 different teams.
That's 2 different teams.
It's one
Okay, so
franchise.
yeah,
It's
so
2 different
9.
teams.
It's only happened 9 times.
Correct. 9 different
And of
teams.
that could be couple. It could be one team could be on there multiple times.
Correct. And so the question is, how many franchises have done it more than once? That's the question. And who are they? If you want to go even further, I'm willing to listen to that. But anyway, that's the trivia question. Is so how many franchises have done that more than one time throughout the 54 years of Super Bowl history? Anyway, we got it. Are we clear?
I got it. I got it. It took me a second, but I'm there.
Okay. I just want to make sure I don't want to confuse anybody. It's a confusing kind of question, but it's a good question because
It's a strange phrasing.
I didn't have any better way to put it. There's teams and there's franchises. This franchise has multiple teams. Every year they have a team, and they're all different. So anyway, that's the best way I can say what I'm. Never mind. Don't listen to me. So, right. So we had college football, right? Today.
Yes.
Lots of it. And so let's talk about college football. Right now, what's going on? Number 5, Oklahoma is handling Missouri State 41-0 in the third quarter. Spencer Rattler, and I like that last name for a quarterback, by the way, 14 of 17 for 290 yards and 4 touchdowns. And I feel like he should probably play for Florida A&M with a name like Rattler. Yeah. But anyway, so they're handling Missouri State as you would think that they would. Number 1 Clemson at the half is ahead 27-0 over Wake Forest. Again, that's exactly what you'd expect. Trevor Lawrence is 18 of 23 for 261 yards and a touchdown. Number 14 Texas is ahead 28-0 over UTEP, who's 1-0 by the way. Sam Ellinger has 15 of 20 for 306 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half We still have. They're in the second quarter with 12 and a half minutes still, and
A
he's
lot of time.
thrown 3 touchdown passes in the first what 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're clearly gonna bomb UTEP. Earlier today, Notre Dame beat Duke 27-13 in their first ACC um, conference game. Ian Book of Notre Dame, 19 of 31, 263 yards and a touchdown. North Carolina, number 18, North Carolina beat Syracuse 31-6. Not, it was boring. I watched part of that game. That was about as boring a football game as you'll ever see. Just it was close. It was 10-6 in the third quarter, but it was so low scoring and nobody was doing anything. And then all of a sudden, North Carolina scores 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to basically run away and hide. And it was not interesting. It's terrible to say that about a football game, but there's games where you watch them and you go, meh.
It absolutely happens. Like, not every game is going to be super exciting and super fun to watch. I remember a certain championship game where the final score was 9-6.
Yeah.
Practically could have taken a nap and not missed a thing.
And the people that will defend that to their grave, saying, "Oh, it's just great defensive football." It might be, but it's boring as crud to watch. Come on.
Yeah,
I mean,
none of those defensive players are still playing.
I don't want to watch a 2-0 game. I mean, I don't. I've been in one, but I don't. I don't want to watch. That's a boring football game. And the other game from earlier in an upset, Louisiana, and I'm talking Louisiana, not Louisiana State, but the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana beat number 23 Iowa State 31-14 at Iowa State. They used two touchdown returns. One was a punt, one was a kickoff, to win and upset the Cyclones. Anyway, that's the big upset of the day. Arkansas State also beat. And I don't have it in front of me. I just watched that game. Kansas State.
Arkansas State was playing?
The Kansas State. Yeah, Arkansas State beat Kansas State earlier at Kansas State. So
That's not a bad win.
That's a good win for Arkansas State. That's a Big 12 winner of a Big 12 team on the road. You can't beat that. So there is college football. I haven't seen that game yet where I go, wow, it was a great football game. And I'm sure it's coming. But
Maybe. Maybe.
But let's also talk about the fact that supposedly, maybe, the Big Ten is going to revote on football, whether they're going to play football.
I hear what they're saying. I don't think they should do that.
Right. I don't either. I agree with that. I think that's, stay the course. Do what you got to do. Why are you giving in to the pressure? Because what we're also seeing is teams like Memphis. Memphis now has some positive COVID tests. They're going to have to postpone. They've ceased their football operations right now. You had TCU, who had positive tests. They have to postpone next week's game against SMU. So that's going to have to be made up later in the season. There are still positive tests going around, and the report is that there's 5 Auburn starters that have COVID. So it's going to hit. And I think you're going to run into the same thing you did in baseball, is that while it may not be super widespread, it's going to hit and affect enough games, especially in a season where you only have 10 to begin with. It's going to affect enough games. It's going to cause a lot of havoc. Am I wrong?
Not at all. It's
Okay.
it's gonna be troublesome. It's gonna be something that people are gonna have to deal with, and it's not going to be addressed properly until Trevor Lawrence gets it and has to miss 2 games, or until the starting running back, whatever, the Heisman candidates all start getting it.
Right.
Then it'll get the attention it deserves. People go, well, maybe we shouldn't play.
Yeah.
But until that happens, it does not matter. The show will go on. Other starters, like the guys that, like last year's LSU squad, there were 11 starters on offense. I can name you 3.
Right.
So 3 of those other guys can probably get it, and I would not be none the wiser. Going into the rest of the year. So it's gonna take a name getting sick. Like I think I said a couple weeks ago, it's gonna take Nick Saban getting sick before they go, okay, this is a problem. Maybe we got to be cool about this.
And BYU is the other team. BYU and Army are going to have to postpone next week's game. And, of course, that means that since BYU just played Navy, we're going to have to get all those Navy guys tested too.
That's a good point.
There's a lot to unpack there, in everything that happens not only affects your team, it affects 2 teams immediately, and then that affects some other team that has to play them next week. So that's
what affects the student body at your school.
Right, correct, because you're carrying it around. How do we feel about let me set this up, but and I don't want to. So, Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh,
Mm.
um, beat Austin P at Heinz Field on Saturday, and that's a mismatch right from the get go, right?
Should be.
Um, yeah, and it was. It was 42 to nothing Pittsburgh at the half, right? Pittsburgh, by the way, is missing 7 players also held out of the game for COVID-19. So, but it doesn't matter because Austin P is the next level down, and they're clearly not. They're not. I
Not even
also
close.
I also went to school at Austin P, and I can tell you that their football team's not that good. So, speaking from experience,
Cannot compete.
yeah, no, not really, not in that level. But anyway, so up 42 nothing at the half. The teams agreed to play 10-minute quarters in the second half.
Ooh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, they played 10-minute quarters in the second half. How do we feel about, oh, let's call it a mercy game and we'll shorten the game for us? I don't like that.
Uh,
I don't like that at all. I mean,
I think what I want is for you to forfeit. I
right,
think if you want to leave, if you want to go home because you don't like the score, because we don't like the way things are going, you need to forfeit. Save our players. What? So we have to play 10-minute quarters where our second stringers can possibly get hurt, where anybody on our team has to be subjected to it, just that way you can go home 10 minutes earlier. Like I don't like it. Either forfeit or we play.
right. I and I get the limiting the exposure because that's what you did by shortening the game. You also limited the chance for injuries, but that's not fair to someone else who had a closer game in the first week, right?
Right.
That extra 10 minutes, maybe your star quarterback goes down, maybe your star wide receiver, maybe who knows what happens, right?
I'm not a fan of changing the rule kind of on the fly like that.
No, that was not okay. I don't like. I mean, you know me. I'm a traditionalist at heart, and this is really egregious in my opinion because it's not. I don't understand how you just say, oh well, you know what? We don't have to play the whole game. I know you guys are losing, or we'll just play a part of the game. You guys and we'll. No,
There's a couple of defined parameters within a game, and one of those is the length of time that a game is.
right,
You can do things to augment time, like taking knees or burning clock. But that's the only way you can. They don't actually change the clock. So what's next? Do we say, all right, well, why don't we just get rid of holding today? We don't want holding
right.
anymore because it's just slowing down the game, and all the refs will get together and go, yeah, we all agree on this. Coaches, you like it? Yeah, sure. No more holding. Like where does it actually stop? And I know that's one of those stupid arguments that people make. Like, well, if you allow this, then what's next?
Right.
But yeah, I feel like there are certain things that you do not change. There are certain things that you don't kind of tweak even for the sake of avoid. I mean, we do this. People do this in like Pop Warner football.
Right.
Like you might have a mercy rule for kids, so the parents can go home, and so that way the kids don't have to sit out there all day. But you don't do that from high school and above. You don't do that. There's no point.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I think it's really I can understand the reasons why you would do it. I don't think that's something you mess with. And if you want to just run running plays and run the clock and just run it out, that's fine with me. But you still need to play it because there's other teams out there playing it. And I don't
Yeah.
think it's fair to those other teams. Now at the end of the season, you know, what are you going to do stat wise? Right? I mean, oh well, I played 10 minutes. You guys didn't play a full season. You guys played 10 minutes less than we did. You know what I mean? That's a really stupid thing to say, but you did. You know that's not. You didn't play the exact same thing that everyone else played. Your players got 10 more minutes of rest than every other team in your conference. That's not okay.
Yeah,
That's not okay.
it's not right.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I'm one of
Very not.
if I'm one of these other teams that's really really good, right? Let's say I don't know let's just pick a team out of the conference. Let's just say Clemson, and Clemson was playing a non-conference game against somebody crappy, and it's 42 to nothing at the half. Why don't they just say, oh well, let's not play the second half? I
Yeah,
don't
we're
want
not
to.
gonna
We
do
don't
that.
want to get anybody hurt. Let's just quit, right? That seems to be okay now.
Seems to be the logic they're going for.
Anyway, all right. So there's that. Um,
That was frustrating.
it was a little frustrating. I will tell you the game of the day though, and I'm just looking at the scores now to see what had happened and who played what. But the Texas San Antonio Roadrunners beat the Texas State Bobcats 51-48 in double overtime.
Ooh,
So
that is the game of the
so
day.
if you wanted a game to watch, if you can catch it on a replay, that's probably the thing to go see. Um, 'Cause- 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 Texas State's Alan Arona missed a 20-yard field goal attempt in the second overtime, and a potential game-winning extra point with 1:16 left in the fourth quarter.
Those damn kickers.
Yep. But Hunter Duplessis kicked a 29-yard field goal in the second overtime for UTSA, and they won 51-48. I'm looking at the highlights, watching them right now. I never saw this game, but it looks like it was a fantastic football game, down to the end. So
fantastic football game between these two teams.
Yeah, I mean, you just want a good football game, and if you're me, I want something that has some scoring. I want exciting big plays.
Yeah.
I want it to be close. I want it to be decided by strategy or somebody, coming up big when the time mattered, that kind of thing. So
I agree.
This kind of checks most of those boxes, and you know what? It would be a great game to go watch. So if you see a replay of it, it's Texas State and Texas San Antonio, then yeah, catch it and go watch it. But that looks like the best game of the day, of the season so far. So, all right. So let's move along. let's move to something else. NBA playoffs are still going on.
Oh, yeah, they are.
The Lakers lead the Rockets 62-51 at the half right now. They also hold the series lead 3-1. Does Houston have a chance to still come back and make this anything?
No.
Okay. There's that. We're done with the NBA.
Cannot compete with this team.
Yeah.
You thought they might be able to, but everything that they would need to do to compete, they're just not doing. So, no.
So just no. It's not. We're not even.
So they should just stop.
They should stop after halftime.
Can we shorten the third and fourth period to like 8 minutes?
Right.
So we can get out of here.
So yesterday, down 3-1, the Nuggets found a way to beat the Clippers, 111-105. Nikola Jokic, 22 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists. Kawhi Leonard had 36 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists for the Clippers in the loss. But they're staying in it. At least they're alive. They're going to force a Game 6. They show a little bit of life. Can they come back and win it?
I think that they could. It's unlikely, but I think that it's possible. So they have just enough shooting, and Paul George has been just streaky enough to where this could be trouble if they don't get it together. So
let me ask you, who has the higher percentage chance to win the next playoff game? The Rockets are halfway through theirs and they're
right. I was just about to say they're almost done.
But I was going to say the Rockets or the Nuggets. Yeah, I feel like the Nuggets. I still feel like the Clippers will close them out on the next game.
Yeah, I if you would have asked me this question prior to the Rockets game, I still would have said the Nuggets.
Okay. Yeah, it was not. It's. I just don't see the Rockets have that physicality, the ability to match up with what the Lakers do, and what the Lakers do is try and overpower you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is kind of funny that it's that way, considering that most of the NBA is 3-point, 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 and that's all they do. And that's what the Rockets do to you.
Right.
Yeah. So it's odd that a team that's physical is able to win in an era where the 3-point ball is what makes teams good.
3-point is king right now.
Yeah. So also yesterday, the Celtics wrapped up their Eastern semifinal against the Raptors with a 92-87 win. They will play the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. I did not see the Celtics Heat coming.
I saw the Celtics getting there.
Maybe.
Did not see the Heat getting there.
Yeah, maybe. I would have said maybe no.
No.
I might have said Celtics Bucks. Yeah, I would have more likely said Raptors Bucks.
Yeah.
But clearly the Bucks just stopped playing basketball at some point, and it's part of that's Giannis with his ankle, but part of it's just because I don't think they were very good. I don't think they were playing very well at the time. So maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's yeah. And then Boston clearly, put it together when they needed to. I watched the end of that game, and the Raptors 87 points. Let's be honest. You scored 16 in the fourth quarter. That's not going to get it done in the fourth quarter of a playoff game.
Yeah, you're going to need more offensive production consistently. I mean, it's not just then. They had a lot of droughts, and they need to stop.
Yeah, and then Kyle Lowry fouled out in the fourth quarter.
Oh, that was a trash foul.
It was a bad call.
Garbage call, man. Just.
One of the positive things about running a podcast or a radio show is that you can say that was a trash call, and the NBA can't find you. So
they could try. We're never going to get those interviews we want, though.
I know. But
They're
I
denying
was
all of our
I
requests.
wasn't trying to interview those referees anyway. So hopefully that's a thing. So Clippers Nuggets will go at it again tomorrow. That's 10 a.m. Pacific. So get up early and have your Sunday brunch, get your mimosas rolling, and watch the Clippers Nuggets.
That sounds
Um,
nice.
all right, that's going to be a perfect morning, sitting on the couch with a mimosa, watching NBA playoff basketball, and what
Well,
should be a
and
good game.
NFL football at the same time.
And NFL football at this. If you've got the multi-screen, you got the picture-in-picture, you got whatever you got. Watch one on your phone, one on your laptop, one on the screen. You got to get it moving. And so, speaking of that, we're going to move back to the NFL quickly, and we have a full slate of NFL football games coming up tomorrow. Which game of the games tomorrow is the most exciting? I'm gonna give you an option here. I'm gonna give you a choice of two games. And first of all, I personally think that the Buccaneers Saints is gonna be the best game tomorrow.
Sure.
But I'm gonna put that one aside.
Okay.
Okay. So you tell me which of these games you would tune into if you could only tune into one. All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you two. So one is the Cardinals and 49ers tomorrow afternoon in San Francisco. The other one, now, and hold on, you got to take your personal belief out of this. The other one is Titans Broncos, Monday night at 7.
All right. Well, first of all, Cardinals 49ers might not happen.
There's that.
They have weather quality issues, and then that'll solve that problem for me.
But if they were playing and there wasn't an
if
issue,
all things are the same, the divisional Cardinals 49ers game would probably be higher on my list of what do I want to see.
right?
So I think I'd rather watch. I like divisional games because they just mean a little more, and
Okay.
players act like they mean a little more. So I tend to always side with divisional stuff.
I think the games that I find the things I will tell you that here's what I find intriguing. I want to watch the Seahawks Falcons. I want to watch that because I want to see if Todd Gurley can run.
Ooh,
Right? And run against the Seahawks defense that's usually pretty good. Am I
pretty
wrong?
stout, yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun to watch that game and see if the Seahawks are still a playoff caliber team. It seems to be like they're that 10-win team every year. But that's why you want to watch that football game. To me, Jets and Bills, I don't want to watch that game because the Jets are awful. They're gonna be bad. The Bills are gonna win this game, and the Bills defense
Jets
is gonna.
shouldn't be that awful. Is the problem? They have plenty of pieces. They should be better.
This game is going to be 24-7 Bills. There's my prediction. Just because the Bills offense is good enough that the Jets defense won't be able to stop them, and the Jets offense will not score very much if they do on the Bills defense. The Bills defense is pretty good. So I feel like the Bills are just way better. The Jets are going to be better than they were last year. I think that's true, but not much. That's just what I think. What do you think?
I think that they should be better, but I don't trust that they will be.
Right.
I think that's how it always is with these teams. But my question for you is, sorry, so I've got two games that I want you to choose from.
Okay.
Packers Vikings,
Ooh.
Dolphins Patriots.
Ooh.
Putting aside your personal stuff.
So I would tell you the Packers Vikings game has more intrigue for me because I think these are two playoff caliber teams.
Right.
And I want to see if Aaron Rodgers puts a chip on his shoulder and goes out and throws 17 touchdown passes tomorrow.
You should.
I mean, he could. Or if the Vikings are what I think the Vikings are, which is I think the Vikings are that Seattle Seahawks team. They're good enough to make the playoffs. They're very good at times, just not good enough to quite put it all together.
That's fair.
And I feel like that's the team that they are. And that will be a good matchup, I think, the Packers-Vikings. I'd like to watch the Dolphins-Patriots, but the Dolphins, to me, are a train wreck until they prove otherwise. They
You're
are.
You're going to treat them like one. You're not
Absolutely. They're still my team. And I'm going to love every time they beat any other team. I'm going to laugh at the other fan base because why? It was the Dolphins that beat you. And there's no reason why that should have happened.
You're going to let the Dolphins beat you. That's
right?
Fair.
Especially the Patriots, because anytime you can get a chance to beat the Patriots. But the Patriots and Cam Newton will be interesting to watch, will they not?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking is you have Tua. Is this Tua's first game? So is Tua going to hold up? Is Cam Newton going to hold up? Like, is this all going to work? You know, for both these teams, is it going to work?
Right. Yeah, you just don't know what's going to happen. There's other games that would be – there's intrigue in some of the other games. I want to see the Washington football. We didn't come up with a name. Oh, we failed. By the way,
You know.
we're supposed to come up with a name for the Washington football team, a nickname. I want to see if they can improve and be better than they were last year. And the Eagles are a good starting point. They get the Eagles at home. The weather's supposed to be nice. I feel like Washington is a team that could surprise some people this year if they can get out of their own head that they were
Right.
bad last year. Does that
Yeah,
make
because they
sense?
weren't. They really weren't that
They
bad.
weren't that bad, but they were
They were frustrating.
they're frustrating to watch. If you're a Washington fan, I sympathize entirely because I know there were there were times last year where you probably watched and go, we're not that bad. Why are we losing? And and they won 4 games. Well, they won three.
Yeah.
They won three. I'm sorry, they won 3 games. They won a preseason game. That's what I'm counting. They won they won 3 games last year. But you know who they beat? One of those is Miami. So okay, one of those is
That's
a Cam Newtonless Carolina team,
rough.
right? And the other one was Detroit somehow. I don't know how they did that, but the rest of the games that they lost, and they lost, by 5 to Philly. They lost 9-0 to San Francisco. Who loses 9-0? They lost by 5 to Green Bay. They lost by 6 in overtime to the Giants. There were games. They were in some games. They could have easily been a 6 or 7 win team. You know what I mean?
Was this a team that might have been flopping a little bit,
I don't.
trying to tank for the draft to get Chase Young?
I might have said yes, except 2 of their wins were in the last 6 games of the season. So I don't. I don't know. Here's the funny part that I laugh about. Adrian Peterson, who played for them
Yeah.
last year, who now, yeah, where's AP now? In Tampa.
I don't.
No,
Yeah.
no, Tampa.
No. That's
No.
Leonard Fournette.
Yeah,
who's
Leonard
there.
Fournette. Where did Adrian Peterson go?
I don't think he's been signed yet.
Yeah, he just went somewhere. Hold on, give me a second. Now I got to go back. I got to go back and forth. He's in Detroit. That's right. So Adrian Peterson plays in Detroit.
That's a good fit for him.
I think so. So Adrian Peterson, their leading rusher from last year for the Washington football team. God, I got to come up with a name for that. He led the team in rushing. 12 of the 16 games, right?
Jeez.
12 of the 16 games. 2 of the 3 games they won, he did not play. He was not the leading
So he
rusher.
was the problem.
He might have been the problem, is all I'm saying. I'm going to throw that out there.
He would have just found a way to not be a part of this team
Right.
a little earlier. We would have been fine.
And so it'll be interesting to see the development. Dwayne Haskins, and
Yeah. I forget about Dwayne Haskins
Right.
because that Washington team was just been a little forgettable.
I, okay. They, lately they have been irrelevant. I think you're absolutely right. That you're not wrong at all. I'm interested to see Chase Young play in the NFL
Yeah.
for the first time. That will be exciting to watch. What other game? Any other game? Any other intrigue that you see that you're looking for in terms of a game that has
Of
some?
course, there's that Broncos game that I didn't choose.
Yeah.
I want to see if Drew Lock is the real deal
Yeah.
because he played really well. He won 6 out of 7 the last back half of the season. Is he the real deal? Browns Ravens, little Baker versus Lamar. The young QBs.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that one. I'm also excited to see how 2 Monday Night Football games work.
Oh, they've done it. They've been doing it.
Have they done that?
Yeah,
before?
they've been doing
I
it
feel
for a
like
while.
I've never noticed it, but
Yeah, it's really annoying because the first one starts so early that you can't get off work on the West Coast to see it.
that sounds right.
It starts at 4:15 Pacific.
I miss East Coast watching football on the East Coast.
Only for the
convenience.
prime time games, right?
Yeah.
The late
Oh,
games. The early on Sunday, I love being on the West Coast, right?
Right.
NFL football, for the most part, is done by 4.
Yes.
Yeah, you got that one late game that starts at whatever. Even that, if you stay up late and watch that late, it's not even late. If you stay up and watch that game, and this week it's Dallas at the Rams. If you stay up late, it starts at 5:20 Pacific. It'll be over by 8:30. You still can get in bed early if you need to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's fantastic. When you're on the East Coast, that game didn't get over till 11:30. So, yeah, on Sunday it's not the best, but every other time, Thursday night games and the Monday games and all those weird games, those are fantastic when you're on the East Coast because they come on when you can watch them. But plus, I guess if you're on the East Coast, you can sleep in on Sunday because nothing starts till 1.
That's right.
It's a good.
I will say, I do remember watching Oregon Duck football games, Pac-12 after dark, they would start at what? They started at 10 o'clock here.
Oh
No,
no
that's
no,
not right. What time do they
this
start?
they started at 10 there, like 10:30 there.
They
It-
start at 10:30 there.
yeah,
Yeah. So there we are, just kind of
yeah,
hanging out, waiting for football to start, and and the next thing you know, you're watching it till 3 a.m.
yeah, yeah. So there's some
Those
other
are a little
things.
rough.
Yeah, Philip Rivers. It'll be interesting to watch him play. It's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting to watch Teddy Bridgewater at Carolina in
I
his
was just
first
thinking about him
his
too. Yeah.
first game. What I would have loved to have seen was Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow go at it in game one. That would have
Oh.
been fantastic. But you're going to see Tyrod Taylor and Joe Burrow. But I'm interested to see if Joe Burrow, what he does in his first game. Um, Other than that, the rest of them, okay, Pittsburgh, New York, Ben Roethlisberger's coming back.
Yeah.
And Daniel Jones. Is Daniel Jones the real thing as a quarterback? He looked pretty good last year. I don't know. So
I still don't even know who that guy is.
I know he came out of nowhere. There's lots to see. There's lots of intrigue because we don't know anything. And most of the reason we don't know anything because we didn't see any preseason.
Right.
You don't know how these teams look or how they play. You haven't watched Chase Young rush the quarterback in the NFL yet.
Yeah.
That'll be, on Sunday. It'll be the first time you'll see him do that, and you'll be like, "Whoa, he's fast, he's strong." You
I'm
know,
curious to see if J.K. Dobbins gets some carries for Baltimore.
yeah. Well, that's all going to be good. I think that's all going to be fun to watch. I'm looking forward to a day of football while I pack. By the way, so um, we'll see how much I actually get to watch. It will definitely be background noise. It'll be on all day, but we'll see how much I actually get to sit down and watch. How did you feel about Clyde Edwards-Helaire in his debut? 138 yards rushing for the Chiefs.
I feel like people are being surprised by someone who was taken in the first round of the NFL draft doing well.
Yeah,
I'm kind of confused by that. Isn't he supposed to be good?
but he was. But to be fair, he's the last pick in the first round.
He's still supposed to be good. If you're taken in the first 3 rounds, if you're taken in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft, they're expecting you to produce. All right. And he did exactly that. No more, no less. So I'm not 100% sure where all the shock is coming from by,
Yeah.
look at this rookie. Like, yeah, he did well in college too.
Yeah, I guess he's kind of under the radar as a first round pick, if you can.
Yeah.
Be.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as anyone can be that.
There was just so many quarterbacks to talk about in this last draft that I think that a lot of guys kind of got
Stole the thunder.
took the thunder away from some of the other dudes who would be good.
I think you're right. So we're about the halfway point. The second half of the show is brought to you by Boss Kitty Yarn. Boss Kitty hand-dyed yarns. You can go to bosskittyshop.com for all your yarns, notions, and Boss Kitty merchandise, or you can pick up a gift card, bosskittyshop.com. This is why we're not rated for under 18. Because you don't know what's coming. Use the code Wear Your Mask at checkout and receive free U.S. domestic shipping on orders of $50 or more. You can tune in to BossKittyLive.com at 6 p.m. every Monday and Wednesday, and at 11 a.m. every other Sunday. And they do nerdy yarn craft, as they call it, games, giveaways, and more. It's really it's really fun to watch. They have a good time. That's Boss Kitty, yarn so boss you'll knit your pants. So we're on the second half of the show here, and we talked about NBA basketball, we talked about NFL, we talked about college football. The U.S. Open women's half just completed, and Naomi Osaka beat Victoria Azarenka 1-6, 6-3, 6-3 on Saturday to capture her second U.S. Open title in 2 years and her third Grand Slam overall. If you haven't been watching tennis, and I'm guessing most people haven't, unless you're a tennis fan,
Right.
She's the real deal. That's a real. She looks good. I mean, she looks like a tennis winner. I've watched a lot of tennis. I mean, I'm old, so I've seen a lot of people play, and she looks really good. Have you seen her play?
Yeah, a couple different times. I saw her in her match with was it with Serena last year?
Yeah.
And I saw that one. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I've seen her a couple different times. She looks built for the stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't look like she's shying away from that at all.
Right. Yeah, I think it. Yeah, I think she's right. So the men's singles finals. Let's talk about that real quick. I'm getting sidetracked because I'm reading a whole bunch of things. So the men's singles final is tomorrow. So Alexander Zverev he was a 3-6, 2-6, 6-3, 6-4, 6-3 winner over Pablo Carreno. He came back from 2 sets down to win, which is hard to do. And then Dominic Thiem beat Daniel Medvedev 6-2, 7-6, 7-6. Both the last 2 sets went to a tiebreaker. So Thiem and Zverev will be in your men's final, and most people will go, who? They're not the names that you normally see. And can we talk for just a second about Djokovic? In anger, smacking a tennis ball and hitting a linesperson in the neck was disqualified immediately from the match and therefore from the tournament. He has a little bit of a temper. And
he's a competitor.
That's another way to say it. If you,
Nice way to say it.
It's the nice way to say it. But I mean, that kind of stuff, and you see it. It doesn't really, like you said, like I think what you said earlier. Well, no, I was talking to someone else, and they said it didn't really look like he hit it very hard. I said, well, that's what they do. They make it look really easy to hit the ball really, really hard, and he didn't. It doesn't. When you watch him swing, it's like, eh. But they have. That's what they're trained to do, and he hit that ball really hard.
I think this is a combination of a couple things.
Okay.
I think number one, he's got a little more power behind it than it probably looks like. But I still don't think he hit it very hard. He was just kind of, he did tap it. He didn't full cock back rear and hit it. So I'm going to guess tops 15 miles an hour.
Okay.
At that speed, maybe 20.
Okay.
We'll say 25 to benefit the argument of anger. Number two, there was that lady, while there was no play going on, was dead focused ahead.
Well,
why wasn't she watching where the ball was? I know that her job is she's a lines judge. I know that's a little different, but like I don't know. There's just a little bit of disconnect there. Like tennis is such a rigid sport. When you see the ball boys, when you see the lines judges, when you see everybody, everyone is so rigid. It's weird. It's uncomfortable to watch. The other thing is
the term is focused.
Whatever. It's rigid when it's stuffy looking.
Yeah, you're okay. I'll give you that. But if your job is to watch, if your job is to watch so we're not going to be ageist though about it. I mean,
I'm just saying she went down like a sack of potatoes. You or I would have just been like, "What the heck, man?"
I don't know. I've never been hit in the throat by a tennis ball at 15 miles an hour. I don't know what that feels like. But
me neither. But I can promise you, I don't need to be carted off.
If it catches you in the windpipe just right.
Do you need a second to catch your breath?
Well, and let's just say this, that on Twitter, on social media, people have left her some bad messages. Literally, one says, "Shame on you, old lady full of evil." Right?
That's weird.
And they accused her of bad acting and faking the injury.
Oh, trying to get him out of the tournament. See, could this be some systemic stuff?
Well, I don't know. A
little conspiracy theory, a little tennis conspiracy theory.
I don't know, but Novak defended her and said, left him feeling sad and empty. This whole situation has left me really sad and empty, he said on Twitter. I checked on the lines person, and the tournament told me that thank God she's feeling okay. I'm extremely sorry to have caused her such stress, so unintended. And then later, after all these people started posting negative things, he said, please also remember the lines person that was hit by the ball last night needs our community support too. She's done nothing wrong at all. I ask you to stay especially supportive and caring to her during this time. He's saying the right things.
That's a very good thing. I mean, what is he? You can say nothing, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Well,
I do think in his position, like he doesn't have to say anything. Nobody's going to think like he's a bad person for not retorting to trolls on the internet.
Right. No, right.
Like,
correct.
You're not going to care about that.
He didn't have to defend her.
But saying something good, that can only help you.
Right. No,
that can only help you.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think it was. I mean, he's definitely saying the right things. It sounds sincere. Well, first of all, his disqualification cost him about $250,000 probably. So just assuming that he had finished where he normally finished in the U.S. Open, so that's a pretty expensive whack in the throat.
I find it crazy that I've watched a Morris brother full on shove a basketball player. I've watched dudes throw punches. I've seen people cussing and swearing up a storm. This dude just smacks a tennis ball behind his back, preparing to serve. If that's a display of anger, then I don't know. That's the most tame dude on earth. He contained it pretty well.
He's done it more than one time though. That's what happened is that this is a ongoing thing with him. He does.
But we have a bar. It's McEnroe.
Well,
Where is this on the McEnroe scale?
McEnroe never hit anybody, so this is a different scale. Now you're talking about actual contact. McEnroe throw his racket. He yelled at the umpire. You know,
you're not talking about swinging. All right, he didn't. When you say hit somebody, you make it sound like he swung his racket at her. He wasn't even looking at where he hit the ball.
Well, he still hit her with the ball.
All right, sure, yeah, and I've definitely pegged somebody with a football because they looked away at something, and like wasn't ejected from catch. Like it happens, that's life. I just feel like
that's different.
This is rigid tennis.
Hold on,
stuffy tennis, and this is I feel like it was a bit of an overreaction. He clearly didn't mean to. He clearly wasn't happy about it. Tennis is a rules type of organization.
How many times in sports, when you were playing a sport, did you throw a ball, a piece of equipment, in anger and hit someone with it?
All right, better retort. How many sports are you able to toss a ball off and somebody's supposed to grab it?
Yeah, but you don't have to hit it to them. You just hit it on the ground over in the corner and they go get it. You got ball boys for that. Or you hit it in the net and somebody will run out and
Maybe he thought the ball boy was back.
And he might have. Yeah, there could have been all kinds of reasons for it. You're absolutely right.
I'm just saying there's no other sport where that happens, where you bounce the ball and then get rid of it. The pitchers don't sit up there and then just throw it off to the side. The football players don't walk out and hold it pre-snap and go, nope, give me a different one.
Well, what about,
it doesn't happen.
What about an NFL player who has the football in his hands when something happens, when a whistle blows or there's a bad call or whatever? He doesn't throw the football and hit somebody with it. He hands it to the referee or drops it, right?
He usually leaves it there because he's trying to get the yardage.
He has the opportunity to throw it and hurt someone because he has the ball at the end of the play. He has to give it back to somebody.
But you're comparing the sport where people slam heads into each other,
kind of,
with the refined elegance of tennis.
Hey, we're all about semantics here, so I think it's just a
little silly.
Comparing apples to oranges is what we do.
If he did something wrong,
and he did,
and it's weird. He technically did something wrong. He hit the ball in anger.
He did.
And I guess that's wrong. I don't know. I'm still trying to find out how for sure that is wrong. Because what if he would have just smacked it off the ground, back to himself, caught it, and then tossed it to the side? Is he still going to get kicked out? Or was it because it hit somebody? And is that in the rules that if equipment makes contact with somebody through an act of anger, you were thinking, like, is there an actual rule for that? Or was this just kind of like a stuffy gentleman's moment? Like, you shouldn't have done that. You're done. Like, I'm trying to figure out how defined is this rule, or is this just kind of one of those things that they agreed upon? Like last year when Serena was arguing with the judge and eventually got thrown out. And it was like, well, I don't quite understand the tennis etiquette rules.
Okay.
And further, I don't understand the ones for disqualification. Like, what counts?
So maybe the comparison should be Major League Baseball when a pitcher gets angry and throws at a batter.
Sure, that's looking dead at the batter and throwing at him.
You're absolutely right, but he definitely knows he's not supposed to do that. He definitely knows he could hurt someone, and he definitely is doing it. You know what I mean? When you turn and smack a ball, if you're not looking, you definitely know that what it could do. Why wouldn't you just drop it and throw it in the corner? Why wouldn't you just drop it?
No, and that's 100% the argument to make. Hindsight's 20/20. You should have done a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You should have just rolled it away. You shouldn't have even touched the ball maybe in that moment. Maybe you should have taken a second. Maybe you should have called for a timeout and got some water. There's a lot of things you could have done to ease up your tension in that moment. But the bottom line is, in that sport, you tap balls away and somebody grabs them. He just did it a little harder because he was upset, and it happened to clock Karen in the neck. And
for all of those people who are listening right now, by the way, this is the longest we've ever talked about tennis. I'm not even sure we've talked about tennis on any other show.
It is not the longest I've ever talked about tennis in life, but in this show, yes.
On the show for sure, it's the longest we've
I had to work a whole bunch of tennis matches with PSU, and I got to see a whole bunch of judge issues and how you argue with them and what you are supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. This has never come up.
See, this is a weird thing, but and it
Right. So your default to weird is to kick him out?
well, you couldn't not punish him,
I completely agree, but there is no punishment in tennis other than kicking you out.
basically.
They don't cost you a point when the play hasn't happened because
Right.
there's no that's not
There's
right.
no the play was over anyway.
You either get kicked out or you're good.
Yeah, I so yeah.
They could do it like middle school and be like, you need to go apologize to her, but he already did that. He did it right away.
Again, if we're gonna do it like middle school, then the apology's gonna be sorry. That's what it'll sound like. All right, so we're gonna move on. English Premier League restarted their season. They just finished. The season started. The 2020-21 season started today. Liverpool, the defending champions, they won their opening round match, but it was not easy. They won 4-3 over Leeds United, um, needing a penalty kick in the 88th minute to take the lead late and win 4-3. But I love European soccer, and I'm glad it's back. The Bundesliga starts next week, so all soccer will be back to its regular schedule like it normally is in Europe. So I'm looking forward to that. Um, should we talk about the Timbers?
They're
Or
doing a little better.
is it?
They're
Yeah.
they're improving.
Yeah. So
Not a dramatic improvement, but they're improving.
yeah, after struggling, um, so they won the MLS is back tournament. Then they went out and lost 3-0 to Seattle. They tied Real Salt Lake 4-4. They lost to Galaxy 3-2, but they beat Seattle 2-1 at Seattle. Um, However, they did lose Sebastian Blanco for the rest of the season with a
Yeah.
ACL tear. So that's a big loss for the team. They play LAFC on tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Not sure where you can see it. I know ESPN Plus is carrying those
ESPN
things.
Plus
Yeah,
carrying it. Yep.
which is again, don't get me started. But
Oh, that ESPN.
that ESPN, they're ESPN. Yeah. Anyway, okay.
They're our
So
competition, by the way.
ESPN Plus.
ESPN. They have their
Oh,
own like sportscasting and news and things like that.
do
They're
they do
officially
that
our
really?
competition. Yeah, they do podcasts and stuff too. Yeah. So yeah,
Nobody
those
nobody
guys.
listens to that. They're listening to us. Um, Major League Baseball. So currently, your Tampa Bay Rays have a 5-game lead over the Toronto Blue Jays and the New York Yankees in the AL East. They played about 45 games, so there's about 15 games left. Um, the White Sox have a 1-game lead over the Twins and a 2.5-game lead over the Indians. We told you that division was going to be odd. Last week it was the Twins. The week before that it was the Indians. So it's going back and forth. Don't know who's going to win that. The AL West is the Oakland Athletics by 6.5 over the Astros. If the playoffs started today, the Astros would not be in it. The Atlanta Braves, and that's probably poetic justice, by the way. The Atlanta Braves have a 2.5-game lead over the Phillies in the National League East. The Cubs have a 3.5-game lead over the 19-19 Cardinals, who are at least a week behind everyone else. I don't know how that's going to play out. Don't ask me what their contingency plan is to do it by percentage. I guess I don't know. Um, and then the Dodgers, who have the best record in baseball at 32-13, they are leading the Padres by 3.5 games. So I still think the Dodgers look like the best baseball team out there. The Tampa Bay Rays are keep winning.
That's all you gotta do sometimes.
They're
Keep on.
they're impressing me. They're still winning baseball games, and there's something to be said for keeping on winning. Oakland Athletics look good. This is going to be, I think, what you're going to see is a better playoff. More teams are going to be close to each other talent-wise than in the past, with the exception of maybe the Dodgers being maybe I would say the clear-cut favorite at this point. But I think you're going to see all these other teams that make the playoffs be consistent and be equal, and it's going to make for a much better playoff series, I think. Am I wrong?
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think that I'm actually not sure how to feel about this right now. I hope that what we're gonna get out of all this is a higher quality, but I'm so tense on baseball right now because I don't even think they're gonna finish the series, the season. I think someone's gonna go down at any moment. I'm like watching the games. I'm like, all right, well, this is great, and then we're seeing things that are blowouts like that 29-3 Braves game or whatever that was.
You're right.
Did you see, and then it's like I don't know what to expect anymore. I don't know what type of baseball game. I don't know if it's gonna be high quality or low quality. I don't know if it's gonna be good or bad. It's just all up in the air right now.
So
I'm so ruined on it.
So for those of you who don't know, and I agree somewhat. For those of you who haven't been watching baseball, there's 8 team per league playoff this year as opposed to 2 years past. So 8 teams are going to make it in the playoffs from each league. Um, and you get the expanded, so it's best of 3 series in the first round. And so what you'll see if the playoffs started today: Athletics, Yankees, Rays, Indians, White Sox, Astros, Twins, Jays. So the Astros would be the 6th seed according to this right now, but that's not the way it looks according to that's what I just read. But that's okay. Dodgers and the Giants would play in the first round. That's awesome. You can't get better than, and plus Cubs Cardinals would also be a first round matchup. So those would be fantastic series to watch because those teams don't like each other. So it could be exciting, and then again, you could see some watered down nothing. It might just be terrible. Yeah. We don't know for sure, but I feel like there's enough teams that are pretty even outside of the the number 1 seeds in the divisions or in the leagues. But long story short, we'll see what happens. See if they've even finished the season. They might have to go by percentage points because there's teams that haven't played the same number of games, and we still have some teams that are getting positive tests back. I think the Padres just did that. Had to postpone. Friday night's game between San Francisco and San Diego was postponed minutes before the scheduled first pitch after someone in the Giants organization tested positive. That's what it was. They called off today's game. So they're still getting positive tests, still having issues. I think that's what you're going to run into when you travel from town to town and you're taking the plane, and that's what the NFL is going to run into. That's what college football is going to run into. I don't think you can get away with it. And by the way, those scores you're talking about, the crazy scores, the White Sox currently in the 9th, leading the Detroit Tigers 14-0. So, so there's
those juice baseballs, man.
Definitely some scoring going on in some games. I don't know, baseball. Yeah, kind of lost its. I'm not enamored with baseball at the moment. I think this is gonna be terrible. I'd rather watch the soccer, European soccer, than watching Major League Baseball right now. It's more exciting to me. I understand it more. The baseball changed rules. Their extra innings rule that they have is dumb. There's all kinds of stuff that I just go, ugh, I don't like it. It doesn't look the same as baseball that I'm used to, and so I really don't, I'm not into it. Does that make sense?
I get that entirely. Yeah, it's just not. It doesn't seem like a clean game this year.
No, it feels funny.
Yeah, it feels forced. Like you felt like even with the NBA stuff, like it all still came off really polished and really well. But baseball doesn't feel that way. Baseball feels lackluster.
Yeah, I think you're right. So we're moving on. If you haven't watched the Formula One race, you need to watch them. I'm telling you, they come on early in the morning. Tape it. Watch it during the day at some point in time. They come on Sunday mornings. Tomorrow is the Tuscan Grand Prix. They just did the qualifying. Lewis Hamilton of the Mercedes team, he is on the pole. Valtteri Bottas, his teammate, is in position 2. Max Verstappen and Alexander Albon, who are both on the Max Verstappen. Those 2 guys are sitting on. They're both for the Red Bull team. They're in the second row. So the top 4 guys are from 2 different teams. They're teammates from 2 teams, and it's going to be an interesting race. It's a race track in Mugello, Italy. They've never raced a Grand Prix on it, so none of the racers have an advantage. It's going to come down to some interesting racing. There was some interesting qualifying. I suggest you watch it. It's fun to watch. You'll enjoy it. I promise you'll enjoy it. It doesn't take as long as a NASCAR race. It's not as boring. There's more interesting stuff going on. You ever watch someone do a 2-second pit stop? You see it.
Miraculous.
At F1, right? You've seen the guys in NASCAR. They're doing the one tires on one side. They're doing the other tires on the other side. There's a guy putting gas in. There's a guy scrubbing a window. Formula One, they have one hub. It's one basic lug nut, one giant lug nut that takes the whole tire off. So they have this thing, boom, and the tire's off, and the boom, the tire's back on. It takes literally that long. They jack up the whole front end of the car, and boom, they replace tires if they need to. And it takes them 20 seconds to go down pit row, right? The whole time, yeah. the whole length is 20, 25 seconds, something like that, to go all the way down pit row. They're actually in the pit for 2 to 3 seconds. Boom, out, done. They don't fuel up. There's no gas because they put enough gas in the car to run the entire race from the get-go.
Right.
Yeah, and it is exciting. It's fun to watch. Anyway, I might just suggest. I've been saying it for a couple weeks now. You'll enjoy it if you watch it. Anything?
Something I found really interesting, kind of on that note, was I watched. Have you seen the Ford versus Ferrari movie?
I have not seen it yet.
It's about racing at Le Mans,
Right?
and kind of within that vein, and they develop something for their cars. It's like an assembly for your brake system that you can change out the entire thing, and it's like two clips.
Yeah.
You just pop it out and put a new one in, and they apparently those are still widely used. So it's really cool to hear about like the single lug nut things, and
Yeah.
then thinking about that brake system, like they can really change the assembly of a car just like that.
It is interesting to watch. You learn a lot of things when you watch them during qualifying and pre-race. They have tire warmers. They're little
Ooh.
they're little blanket covers. They're little covers that go over each tire, and
Electric blankets.
they're little electric blankets, and they're heated to heat the tire up so that because hot tires stick and make better traction.
Right.
So they literally have little heaters on every tire before they even go out, and then when they take all the tire covers off, pop them down, and they go out and they do their qualifying or their racing or whatever, and then they warm up the tires on the track. But I'm like, each tire has its own little thing that says left front, right front. I'm like, they have their own little electric blanket. Um,
What's really funny about that is that sometimes when I play like rec league basketball, before we go out there, I'll bring or before we go on the court, I'll bring a hair dryer, and whenever we sit down, I'll heat up the bottom of my shoes so the rubber's a little more pliable.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
that's how you avoid ankle rolls.
a quick update on college football. Oklahoma in the fourth quarter, leading 48 to nothing. No word on if they shortened the third and fourth quarter of the Missouri State Oklahoma game. Clemson is ahead 37 to 3 over Wake Forest in the third. Texas is ahead at the half over UTEP 45 to 3. And Sam Ellinger has 453 yards and 5 touchdowns at the half.
Just trying to be a Heisman winner in a year when there's half the Heisman candidates.
But the question is, will he play in the second half? There's no
Yeah.
there's no need to put him out there up 6 touchdowns.
He'll do
And-
a drive.
Yeah, exactly. Just to get a 6th touchdown pass and over 500 yards and set a record. Anyway, those are the only games that are currently. Well, that's not true. I say that, but those are the only top 25 games currently in progress. There are other games. South Alabama is leading Tulane 24-13. Louisville is beating Western Kentucky 35 to 14. Texas Tech has a 21 to 10 lead over Houston Baptist. That's at the half. That's less than you'd expect a Big 12 team. South Florida beat the Citadel 27 to 6 earlier. Those games are all finished, but that's all that's going on at the moment. So, do your Denver Broncos win tomorrow?
No. What do you mean on Monday?
Sorry, on Monday night. They're playing on Monday.
No, I don't think they do. I think that Von Miller being out and now Cortland Sutton is going for an MRI, and then they just signed Jadeveon Clowney. The Titans did. I think all those things spell goodbye Broncos.
Okay.
I don't love it, but I think it's how it's going to go.
Do my Dolphins win tomorrow?
Yes, I think they do.
Really?
I think that you're going to have somebody screaming, "The Dolphins are back!"
Even if it's just for one game.
One game.
Yeah.
But they're back.
I don't believe you.
I wouldn't believe me either. I've been wrong a lot.
Last, right? So, last note for you, if you're an NHL fan, yesterday the Islanders beat the Tampa Bay Lightning to take a 2-1 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then right now, at the end of the second period, the Dallas Stars are leading the Las Vegas Golden Knights 2-1. Dallas leads that series 2-1 also. So Dallas can take a stranglehold on the series if they win this and go up 3-1. So if you're a hockey fan, that's the brief hockey news. It's the first time I think we've covered the NHL.
Yeah, I think that is the first time. And there was good hockey for a while there. I was watching quite a bit of it.
Yeah, hockey's fun to watch. I like watching hockey. There was just so much other news that it's really hard to cram it all in our little hour that we try and hold the show to.
Right.
We're limited.
And there's good stuff all the time. So
yeah, I'd love to be able to tell you about everything. We didn't even cover Korean baseball today. I mean, that's disappointing. It's the first week. It's the first week we haven't covered Korean baseball, but I promise it'll be back. So, if you're disappointed. So, that being said, we're at the end of our show, but we're going to give you the trivia question answer because everyone wants to know the trivia question answer. Again, trivia question is brought to you by Stone Vineyards in Hood River. Call 541-946-3750. That's 541-WINE-750 for more information. Stone Wines with Personality. They're our sponsor for the trivia question, which was, do you remember? You can't phrase it. I couldn't phrase
Which
it right.
team has done it multiple times, or what teams have done it multiple times to lose the first game, win Super Bowl?
Correct. There's been 54 Super Bowl winners to this point, right? They are
Nine times it's been somebody who has lost the first game.
correct. They're 44-9-1 in their first Week 1 games. Those Super Bowl winners. So 9 times a team has lost the first game of the season and gone on to win the Super Bowl. My question is, how many teams, franchises, have done that more than once? And if you can name who they are, that would be even better. So let's go with the first question. How many franchises have done it more than once?
I'm going to say 3.
Okay. Who would they be?
Let's go with the Bulls. Let's go with Utah.
Hold on.
No, wait, hold on. Utah hasn't got a title. Or sorry. I'm looking at something different. Sorry. No,
We're in the wrong.
Sorry. What's it called? Something popped across my computer screen just now, and it said NBA, and I was like,
it redirected you.
Yeah. You ever do that thing where you say you say what you write what you're hearing?
Yep.
Yeah, that just happened.
I'm with you. All right.
All right. So the teams I'm thinking, Steelers. Steelers are probably a big one because they have a bunch of titles, so there's a strong chance that one of those seasons they're done. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots.
Okay.
Same deal. And then I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. So the answer officially is 2 franchises.
Ooh.
Okay. New England is one of them.
Ooh.
The other one is the New York Giants. Okay. But to your point, the 1993 Cowboys did lose their first game and went on to win the Super Bowl in 93. The New England Patriots in 2001, 2003, and 2014 lost their first game and went on to win the Super Bowl. The New York Giants in 86, 2007, and 2011 lost their first game and went on to win the Super Bowl. That means that's 6 of the 9 losses. The 81 49ers, the 93 Cowboys, and the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the only other franchises that have lost the first Week 1 game and gone on to win Super Bowl. So if your name is not the New England Patriots or the New York Giants and you lost Week 1, you're probably not winning the Super Bowl.
Right.
That's just a fact now. So I made it one. So there's your trivia question answer. It will be interesting to watch Week 1. It always is. And you would think that you're still trying to figure things out, and a Week 1 loss wouldn't exclude you from winning the Super Bowl, but clearly not that many franchises have done it. There's only 5 franchises
that have done it. It's not that popular of a thing to do.
No, you really don't want. You want to get off to a good start. You want to have that very first, you want to win that first game. Everybody wants to win their first game. Makes you feel good. Makes you go into that second game, and whoo, you're on fire already. Last words. Anything you want to say before we go?
Continue to wash your hands. Continue to wear masks.
Yeah. Stay out of the smoke.
Best you can.
Keep people safe. Support your local fire department best you can, or wildland firefighters if you know some. Everybody's out fighting, and I'm sure everybody's working hard, and your emergency responders are definitely stretched real thin right now. So yeah. If you get a chance to socially distance, I'm going to phrase this incorrectly, to find a way to hug them effectively with social distancing, do that. So that's the best thing I can say. So next week, I kind of like the feeling of Saturdays.
You like Saturdays?
I kind of like the Saturday evening show.
I do too. Let's shoot for Saturday again.
I think we'll do Saturday.
And next Saturday, I'll be up there with you.
Correct.
Live and in person.
Guys, that might be hard to do because we're moving the studio to Yakima next week, so it may be hard to get it all set up on Saturday. But we can definitely. I mean,
we'll make it happen.
We'll find a way. So I'll tell you what. Here's what we'll do. We'll say it right now. Next Saturday, 7:00, we're going to do a show. And we're going to cover college football, and we're going to cover the rest of the NBA playoffs that are going on. We're going to cover the NFL football that happened this week. We can talk about it, see how we feel after Week 1, or who our revised Super Bowl champion is after Week 1. I think we should give one every week. And we need to have a name for that.
Change that often.
We need to have a name for that Washington football team next week. If you're a fan and you're listening, you can email us, lambsports@gmail.com. You can go on Twitter and send us a tweet at lambsports. You can go onto our website, lambsports.com, and you can leave a message there. Leave us a name if you think you got the right name for the Washington football team. Leave a name. I'm not opposed to taking someone's advice and saying, if you got a good name, give me a suggestion. We're going to come up with our own. I'm going to come up with my own. I don't care what you do, but I'm going to come up with my own, and we're going to find out what the best name is because I'm tired of calling the Washington football team.
Yeah, I think so. It's funny when you play Madden 21, which just came out, video game. You scroll. You have these drop boxes sometimes when you're looking through stats. You can select the team, but it's all by their team nickname. So it'll say Seahawks, Broncos, blah blah blah. But when you get to that one, it just says football team.
I'm going to tell you this: if they're going to do that and they're not going to have a name this year, I fully think that they should have put that on their jerseys. Football team.
Football team.
Right? You see those
just sports.
You see those T-shirts that say college, right? That's what that's what I'm thinking. That kind of thing.
It says athletic club.
Go all in with it. If you're going to be the football team from Washington, then be the football team from Washington. Own it. Anyway, so yeah, contact us on social media. Tell us how we're doing. Tell us what you want to hear more of. If you like something, great. If you don't like something, you don't like the trivia questions, you can go to the website. You can see the current trivia question, and there's a link to click. You can see the answer. You can also see some links to past shows if you want to listen to older shows. You haven't seen them all. Shame on you if you haven't listened to them all, but you can find them there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, that is all from Ellensburg, Washington. This has been a production of Lonely Tree Media. It's a Brain Rock, a division of Brain Rock Productions. No, wait. This has been a Brain Rock production. It's a division of Lonely Tree Media. I'm reading it right off the thing.
Saturday nights are not the best.
I'm reading it right off the thing, and I said it completely backwards. So hopefully,
no worse than my Bulls snafu.
I mean, we both, I had an S word, and there was,
I dropped an S word.
I'm just saying. This is why you listen, right? This is why people should be listening right now, is because this is as good as it gets. So, right. All right. So we will see you all next week, next Saturday, 7:00. Join us. We'll talk about everything that we find is interesting. If not, you can get your own show. So for now, goodbye.